So who is Clint Eastwood? You're kidding, right? Well, hang on, let's back up. I feel I'm getting ahead of myself a bit here. Bit of a strange place to begin this video. Christmas 2011. This will always be a special memory for me. My mother passed away in spring of 2013, and although she was still with us for Christmas 2012, it was the year before that was the last one that she actually spent at home with us. So it was a pretty normal Christmas day anyway. I got my father some random bits.
Oh, you're joking, oh.
My mother got a Homedics shiatsu back massager cushion thingy that we bought from Boundary Mill. Even Lily the dog got some, well, treats.
Oh, which one are you going to go for?
Me, however, I got the best present of the lot of them. I got the Warner Brothers Clint Eastwood collection. Almost all the films that he made with that studio, and that was a lot. And I'm a big fan of the action films of the 80s and 90s. Guys like Arnold Schwarzenegger, Bruce Willis and Sly Stallone were my heroes as a kid. But my fanship with these guys aside, I think it's pretty apparent that their genre directly owed a lot of what came in the immediate decades before. Now, during the 1940s and 50s and 60s, particularly the action films, really for the most part came in the form of westerns. Guys like John Wayne, Jack Palance, Steve McQueen, and later on Clint Eastwood with his Italian spaghetti westerns. The tough action film star genre pretty much evolved from the western towards the more gritty cop thrillers from the modern day, such as Dirty Harry in the 1970s. It's rare that you get a good western nowadays, though there are a few exceptions. But going back to my earlier point, all those action stars that I followed, like Schwarzenegger, really owed a lot to guys like Clint Eastwood. Don't just take my word for it, let him tell you himself.
But I mean, I really wanted to get into, becoming a star like Clint Eastwood and doing action movies like he was doing. And all of a sudden I saw this movie, Dirty Harry. And I went to see it not only once, but I saw it 5 times in a row because it had such a tremendous impact on me. And it was like, not only on me, but also on a lot of other people, obviously, because it became like the action movie, a new standard of action movies. I think that we've heard all this Make My Day and, the Do You Feel Lucky, Punk, and all of those kind of things we have seen now over not only in America, but worldwide. So I think that Clint Eastwood there created something that was unlike anything else.
So anyway, I could ramble on, but in this video I'm going to talk about my collection, films of Clint Eastwood that I think are his best. I'm going to have a look at that box set as well that I got for Christmas 2011 and show you what's in it. Enjoy. Hello and welcome to Brand X Reviews. This one I'm going to be doing a review obviously, but first of all I would just like to kind of clear something up. Quite a few people have commented on some of my videos and said that they think that they've seen a very rude word in the background of some of my reviews, specifically on my video shelf. I couldn't quite see it at first, but I think I know what you guys are talking about. It's just up there, looks like a certain 4-letter word beginning with C, ending with T. You're not actually seeing what you think you're seeing, guys, and this is kind of what I'm going to be doing a review of today. In fact, let me just show you, just to clear this up. Now, if we go onto my video collection, can I get a bit of a close-up look? This is what you're seeing. That is a 5-letter word. That is not a 4-letter word. Like, if I kind of put my finger there, it looks like a 4-letter word, but from a distance, I can see where you guys are coming from, but no, it's the Clint Eastwood box set, so that's what I'm going to review here. Well, now that we've sorted that little misunderstanding up anyway, I think we can move on now. I certainly don't want to get kicked off YouTube for having displayed any obscenities in my videos. So this is the box set anyway. I got it for Christmas 2011 off both my parents, and it's going to be one of the best presents, one of the best box sets as well that I've ever had. It really is awesome. Now, I know what you're thinking. Does this film box set have all of Clint Eastwood's films, or is it just a selection of 35 of his films? Well, do you feel lucky? Well, do you? Sorry, I had to do a Dirty Harry joke. It had to be done, I'm sorry. Yeah, I won't do any more of that. A man has to know his own limitations. Anyway, this is what you get. So this is the box set itself. It's very nice packaging, that kind of thing. It does kind of display on the back. It's got a list of all the films in chronological order that they were made in. So, and that's the kind of the order that they come in. So I'll go through them anyway from start to finish. I'm not going to do reviews of each film as such because there's so many films. The video would be like 2 hours long. Probably most of them you've already seen anyway. So. I will just say as well, I haven't watched all of these films. I've watched most of them, so I'm just going to kind of go through them and just kind of say what I think of the ones I've seen anyway. Now, one other thing I'll say as well is there's a few of these films where Clint Eastwood didn't actually star in them. He directed them. He's a very good film director, but in some cases he didn't star in them. But I'll go through each one individually and just kind of say. Now, Clint Eastwood did films back in the 50s, I know that. This starts in 1968, this box set, so there's a few films that he did before that aren't included. I think he did a lot of sort of like B-movie type things. I haven't seen a lot of them. They're on my list of things to watch, don't get me wrong, but they're not included here. Now, it's rare actually that you get a box set like this as well, because actors tend to work with a number of different studios, so I mean you might get a box set with an actor's films in. For example, I've got one on my shelf, a Steve McQueen one, and it's got, I think it's got 5 films in it, and they were all Warner Brothers ones, but he did films with other studios as well, whereas Clint Eastwood worked predominantly from the 60s onwards with Warner Brothers. He had a big relationship with them, so fortunately, a lot of his films can come in one box set, because it's Warner Brothers, they own them.
I always liked the studio. Warner Brothers had great history. They've been lobbying me for quite some time to come over there on a permanent basis. It was a one-day move. Been there ever since.
Go ahead. Make my day.
You look stunning. If you don't mind me saying so.
Oh, I guess they had it coming.
We all have it coming, kid.
There can't be too many guys driving around with an ape.
Bang!
The reason I'm still making pictures is that I enjoy it. I want everybody to enjoy it. It's a fun process. But when it doesn't become fun, you won't see me doing it anymore.
There's a few of the films, like the spaghetti westerns, were done by MGM, so they aren't included in here. It'd be nice to have a box set with everything in one, but you know, you're not going to get an actor working with like one studio. I can't think of any examples of that from start to finish in their career. Anyway, so like I said, it starts with 1968 with Where Eagles Dare. That's the first film. It is a very good film. I have watched that one, and kind of a spy, well, World War II spy thriller kind of thing.
Richard Burton and Clint Eastwood. Lieutenant, drop that gun. What? Drop that gun and sit down.
What the hell are you talking about?
Where eagles dare.
There's a lot of plot twists in it. It's got Richard Burton. In fact, Richard Burton is the main starring role in this, really. I know it's got Clint Eastwood kind of first build on there, but I think Richard Burton really was the main actor in this. It wasn't an early one for Clint Eastwood as such. I mean, like I say, he'd done the spaghetti western films at this point, so he was a big established actor. But Clint Eastwood's character was more the kind of the American. This was more a kind of British type film. Obviously, World War One, and they kind of had Clint Eastwood there to be kind of the cool American liaison type thing. Kind of reminds me in bits of On Her Majesty's Secret Service, which a James Bond film, which whether you love it or hate it, I mean, I like it, I think it was a good film, but there's bits of it kind of reminded me of that as well. There's something about it. It was a year before as well. Might just because it's got a cable car in it at one point. Maybe that's the connection. Anyway, the next film in the box set was Kelly's Heroes, which was 1970. So there's only one 60s film in this box set. That was Where Eagles Dare. Kelly's Heroes is kind of a comedy. I haven't actually sat down and watched this. It's one of these films, I've seen bits of it, and it looks good. I've just never got around to actually watching it. It's on my list, so I'll watch it in the near future, but I'm not going to review each film specifically. That's what you get in the box set, anyway. Each film tends to come in these kind of thin DVD cases, and you get, obviously, 2 discs. So they're not 2 discs on one film, because they'd probably be rubbish quality if they did that. A lot of Clint Eastwood's films are very long as well. So those are the first two films. The next one's the Dirty Harry films. These are the first two, so you got Dirty Harry, the next one was Magnum Force, so that was 1971 and 1973.
Clint Eastwood. Detective Harry Callahan. You don't assign him.
Stop!
To murder cases. You just turn him loose.
Now, what the hell is he doing up there?
Now, the Dirty Harry films are chronologically confusing because there are 5 of them, and only the first one is actually called Dirty Harry. The other ones, if you didn't know, you wouldn't know really from looking at the name anyway that it's a Dirty Harry film. It's not like Indiana Jones where you've got, I know the original was Raiders of the Lost Ark, but then you had Indiana Jones, Temple of Doom, Indiana Jones, The Last Crusade, Indiana Jones, was it Crystal Skulls, the rubbish one anyway, Kingdom of the Crystal Skulls, forgettable. But it says Indiana Jones in the title, so you know what it is. Dirty Harry films don't do that, so they're kind of difficult to, if you don't know which ones they are, or which order they come in as well. I know the books do, there were some Dirty Harry books, they tended to put Dirty Harry on the name of the film kind of thing. Anyway, kind of going off on one a bit there. So those are the first two. The next one in the series, The Enforcer, which is the Dirty Harry 3 pretty much. This one had Tyne Daly in it, that was the female police partner that he has in it. I remember her from Cagney and Lacey. It was like a sort of 90s cop comedy TV series that I remember my mother used to watch. It's quite an early memory for me actually. It's nice to see Tyne Daly in this. It's kind of a bit of nostalgia there. Also, this one's got The Outlaw Josie Wales. I haven't watched that. I need to watch that. I've heard it's a very good film. It's a western, obviously, directed by Clint Eastwood as well. So that's on my list of things to watch. So, seriously, you get this box set and you'll be busy for a long time getting through them all. The next one is The Gauntlet, which was 1977. Now, this gets confused with being a Clint Eastwood film. It's not. A lot of people think it is, but it isn't. He plays a very similar character to Dirty Harry in a lot of ways. Well, he's a kind of gritty cop. It's got a bit more of a comedy angle to this one, and it stars Sondra Locke, who was his wife in real life.
My name is Shockley, and we've got a plane to catch. Now, let's go.
Shockley's gonna be stopped. Stopped hard.
Open fire!
A lot of Clint Eastwood's films from the 70s and 80s. She was in a lot of his films, and they were married. It's not somebody I particularly like on a personal level. I think she was kind of a bitch to him in real life. I think she'd like take him to the cleaners over the divorce or something like that. That's what I heard anyway. So I don't particularly like her anyway. She's a good actress though. Having said that, she's a good actress. So that's The Gauntlet anyway. It's not a Dirty Harry film. People think it is. The next one, Every Which Way But Loose. You've got to have seen that, seriously. If you haven't seen it, watch it. It is awesome. It's really funny.
Every which way you look, there's action, adventure, and fun. Clint Eastwood will turn you every which way but loose.
There's Sondra Locke is in that as well, and the sequel to that, Any Which Way You Can, is the next one in the collection, which was that 1980? I think it was, where are we up to? Yeah, 1980. And Bronco Billy, which I haven't watched, but that stars Clint Eastwood and was directed by him as well. Most of these films, well, it feels like most of them were directed by him. The next one, Honky Tonk Man, I haven't watched that one, so I can't really say. That's directed by Clint Eastwood. Firefox is a very good film. It's kind of like kind of a spy thriller, kind of Cold War type thing from the 1980s, where he's got to steal this MiG-31 from the Russians. Very good film, definitely recommend it. Sudden Impact, that was the 4th Dirty Harry film. Sondra Locke is in that one. There's a bit of a horrible rape scene in it as well, but it's one of those kind of things where it's kind of important to the story that it has it in, because what Sondra Locke, the rape victim, kind of does to the rapists is kind of worth knowing what what they did to her to kind of justify what she does to them. So it's a good film. Like I said, it was the fourth Clint Eastwood film. What year was that? 1983. Then you've got Tightrope, which is another one that people think is a Dirty Harry film, and it isn't. He's a cop. He's kind of Dirty Harry-like in it, but it's not a Dirty Harry film. But that is a good film anyway. It's not directed by Clint Eastwood, but he plays a cop. He's kind of a family man. That kind of distinguishes it in my head that he's not like Dirty Harry, kind of slightly different. And he's like going after some this serial killer that's killing like prostitutes or something, and he kind of in investigating. He kind of gets tangled up in this kind of world of like sleeping with prostitutes and stuff, and it kind of compromises him a little bit. So it's a good film anyway. The next one you've got City Heat and Pale Rider. I haven't watched either of these two. I need to get to these, but these are 1984 and 1985. And Pale Rider is directed by Clint Eastwood. City Heat isn't. The next one, Heartbreak Ridge in 1986. I have seen that, but it was a long time ago. I remember it being very good. It's directed by Clint Eastwood as well. The next one is Bird. I don't think Clint Eastwood's actually in that. It's got Forrest Whitaker, but it is directed by him, obviously. Otherwise, why would it be included? I need to watch that. It looks pretty good anyway, but something to do with the jazz world. Anyway, I know Clint Eastwood's quite into like jazz music and stuff in real life. The next one in the box set, The Deadpool in 1988. That's the fifth and last Dirty Harry film. It's regarded as the weaker of the five, but look out for not Clint Eastwood. Well, yeah, look out for Clint Eastwood. You might spot him. Look out for Jim Carrey. He's got a bit of a. It was his early career. He wasn't really famous at this point. It was kind of weird seeing Jim Carrey and Clint Eastwood together on screen. It's got an early performance from Liam Neeson as well. He doesn't seem to have aged. Liam Neeson's like barely aged if you look at him. I wish I could age as gracefully as him when I'm older anyway, and he's still awesome. But this is an early Liam Neeson film as well. He's in that. The next film, I think we're into the 90s now. The first 90s film of this collection, The Rookie, with Charlie Sheen. It's a pretty good film. I liked it.
You think I like dragging around after you all day? I'd hate it. And I hate the way you drive. Shut up.
Shoot her. Shoot her now.
There's got to be 100 reasons why I don't blow you away. Right now, I can't think of one.
As you would guess, Charlie Sheen is kind of like a young sort of new cop brought to be in his sort of new partner kind of thing, similar to what the Tyne Daly character was in the Enforcer, the Dirty Harry film. But it's a very good film anyway. It's got a lot of funny moments in it as well. White Hunter Black Heart. I haven't watched that one yet, so I can't really say, but it stars and was directed by Clint Eastwood. 1992 now, I think, or was it 93? The Unforgiven. I remember when this came out, there was like a big deal about it at the time. It's a remake of an old western, and got Gene Hackman in it as well. It's very good. He's regarded as one of the best westerns of all time, kind of thing. I don't know if I agree with that. I can think of a few better ones, but it is very good anyway. Clint Eastwood directed it as well as starring in it, so I would recommend that one.
Just because we're going on this killing, that don't mean I'm going to go back to being the way I was.
Are you really going to kill them cowboys?
I do not like assassins or men of low character.
We ain't bad men no more. We're farmers.
You're a lot of savages! A bunch of bloody savages! Assassins!
Well, I guess they have it coming. We all have it coming, kid.
Some legends will never be forgotten. Some wrongs can never be forgiven.
The man don't want to get killed. Better clear on out the back.
Unforgiven.
The next one in here is A Perfect World. It was directed by Clint Eastwood, and he is in it, but it's more of a Kevin Costner film. very good kind of thing. If you like films like Shawshank Redemption, it's not as good as Shawshank Redemption, but it's that kind of era, and it's got a similar kind of feel to it, I thought. I don't know if anyone would agree with that, but it kind of reminded me of that in some ways. I don't know why. But like I said, it's more of a Kevin Costner film. The Bridges of Madison County, it's probably one of the least that I'm interested in watching. I probably will watch it sometime. I know it's one that's quite well liked. It's got Meryl Streep in it as well, who's a good actress. Absolute Power, that was... both of these were directed by Clint Eastwood. Absolute Power is a very good one. Clint Eastwood's in it. I don't think he's in it as much as... it felt more to me that it was more of an Ed Harris film. It's got Gene Hackman as well. But, yeah, it's good. I liked it. Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil and True Crime. I haven't watched these yet. I need to. They're both directed by Clint Eastwood. I'm going to get around to those. Space Cowboys. I think that's one that my granddad likes. It's got Donald Sutherland, Tommy Lee Jones, James Garner, and of course Clint Eastwood. It's directed by Clint Eastwood, as was Blood Work, which I haven't watched yet. So I think some of the later ones in here I haven't got to watching yet, so kind of getting to ones that I might not have seen now. Mystic River and Letters from Iwo Jima, both directed by Clint Eastwood. Mystic River is supposed to be quite good, but I haven't watched it yet. I need to. Again, like I say, I'm getting through them in chronological order, watching it myself still. Just taking a long time. Flags of Our Fathers and Gran Torino. Gran Torino is awesome. I've seen that quite a few times, and it's very politically incorrect character.
Here's the deal. You stay away, because if I have to come back here again, it's gonna be ugly.
What was it like to kill a man?
You don't want to know. Tao and Sue are never gonna find peace in this world, as long as that gang's around.
What are you gonna do, Walt?
Whatever it is, they won't have a chance.
It's one that I'm sure you'll have seen anyway, but Clint Eastwood said this was pretty much going to be his last major starring role in a film. I know he's done one since, I think it came out last year or the year before, but I don't think it was a major starring role. Well, it was major, but he wasn't the main star in it, from what I understand. Invictus, which he directed but didn't star in, I haven't watched that one yet, but that's a fairly newish one. That was 2009. And then last you've got this thing called The Eastwood Factor, which is a documentary about Clint Eastwood. Who knew? So that's it. Anyway, very good box set, very good value for money. Like I say, if you see this in the shops, you got to pick it up, because it really is a major collection. If it's got like most of his best films. There's a few others that aren't included. I'm going to get to that in a second, but I'd recommend getting this online, because I've seen some shops charge an arm and a leg for it. Which, don't get me wrong, for a box set like this, you would expect it to be expensive, but you can get it fairly cheap. I think even when I think it came out in 2011 when the actual box set came out, and I remember my mother bought me it for about £35, I think, from Amazon. So now you can probably get it even cheaper. Now there are others that aren't included in there, mostly because they aren't Warner Brothers pretty much. But there is one that is Warner Brothers. The American version of that box set has got $1 Million Baby, but for some reason the British one doesn't. I don't know if it's like a distribution thing. I know it's released by Entertainment in Video, but it is a Warner Brothers film, so I don't quite know why the British one excluded it. So if you want this, you're going to have to get it separately. Other ones that I've got in my collection, of course that box set didn't include the spaghetti westerns, because these are the MGM ones. I think this is the best box set that I've seen for this collection anyway. But you've got Fistful of Dollars, then you've got the sequel for a few dollars more. There's my favourite of the three, The Good, the Bad and the Ugly, and there's one called Hang 'em High as well, which is that one. So I think if you're after those films, this from memory was the best box set to get with all of them in. I think they've got extra features and stuff as well. Now, three others that I can name. There's the Eiger Sanction. This one belongs to my father, but he's pretty much said I can have it, just for my collection kind of thing. It's quite a good one. I've never heard of it before till he loaned me it, but this was released by Universal, so there's a lot of something to do like an action thriller. There's a lot of mountain climbing, and it seems to me there's a lot of running and kind of spy shit going on in this as well. So it's a good film, definitely recommend it. One of my favourite Clint Eastwood films, I don't know if anyone agrees with me on this one, it's not my favourite, it's one of my favourites, to be up there in my top 5, Escape from Alcatraz. I love this film. And Patrick McGoohan, which was from a British TV series called The Prisoner. I didn't watch it, but he was most famous for that. He was the kind of prison warden, like, nasty prison warden in this. And it's an escape film, as the title suggests, based on a true story from what I understand. And really good film anyway, definitely recommend that one. I think I've owned this one. I think this is the oldest one that I've got. I remember I had this on tape. In fact, this was the oldest one that I owned. I remember having this on tape. I've seen it loads of times when it came out back in '93. I loved it when I watched it. And it's where Clint Eastwood is a bodyguard for president. He was bodyguard for President Kennedy. Kennedy got assassinated, so he kind of got a bit of guilt about that. And then 30 years later, it's 1993, there's a new guy that's threatening the president, and he has to kind of look after him, kind of thing. So, really good film.
You know, it does make me wonder about Dallas, though. Did you really do all you could have?
We got him. He's right across the street.
You better pray I don't find you, you punk.
The clock's ticking, Frank.
What do you see when you're in the dark and the demons come?
I see you standing over the grave of another dead president.
That's not gonna happen.
Clint Eastwood is in the line of fire.
I don't know if this is my favourite Clint Eastwood film, but I know it was one that I've liked for the longest, kind of thing, and I've owned this, like I say, I had it on tape when it came out. But that one was released by Columbia Pictures, so that's not included in the box set. Anyway, that's my review. I've kind of waffled on a bit, but that's what you get. Are there any other films that I've missed that I don't own that you could recommend? I think these are all the ones that I've seen anyway. There aren't any that I've seen that I don't own, so if there's any others that I've missed out, let us know, because I'd be interested to see if there's any other good ones. I know he's in like TV series like Rawhide and stuff like that, but I'm not really into that kind of thing. But let us know anyway. The website is brandxreviews.com, and if there's anything else to add to this, leave comments on either the website or the YouTube channel, and check back, because there'll be plenty more reviews to come in the near future, and there's plenty up there now as well. So like I say, that's the website, brandxreviews.com. And remember, if you see the Clint Eastwood box set on my shelf in the background, it is not the rude 4-letter C word that you're looking at, guys. Seriously, stop telling me that that's on my shelf. Why would I have a box set with a C word on it? What? Unless it's a porn box set or something. I mean, seriously, we're not reviewing that. We'll, my porn collection stays securely under lock and key. It doesn't stay on my shelf, trust me. Anyway, that's my review for now. So, like I say, brandxreviews.com, and we will see you next time. Thank you very much for watching.
If you're lucky, we'll do you, punk. You a bounty hunter?
Yeah, he's got to do something for a living these days.
Dying ain't much of a living, boy.
Just honky-tonks and flop houses. That's the life of a country singer. Sound good to you?